Good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the third time recording it, just because the first time was yesterday, and honestly, I wasn't in the right frame of mind. The second time, I just recorded just a minute ago, but I messed with my audio settings and I didn't do any testing. And there's way too much that I felt like I had to edit to get anything to sound halfway decent. Third time's a charm. Let's see if I can stay on point. So, finding your balance. What is it that I mean by balance? I think that inherently all human beings have the ability to be both good or evil, right? It's like a yin yang. You can feed into either one, but you're capable of both. Some people choose to lean more into their darker energy, whereas some people choose to lean more into their lighter energy. Very few people, it seems like, are balanced. And it seems like the majority of people who I would consider halfway down, halfway balanced anyway, are definitely of the older generation, 40s, 50s. Even around the 30s, I'm not seeing too many people that seem like they're too balanced right now. And myself included, right? I'm coming into it, but keep in mind, for 32 years, I was definitely in my darker energy. I wouldn't say I was an asshole by no means, but at the same time, I tried to keep everybody out. I pushed everybody away. I was constantly negative, only looking at the negative. I was probably a pain in the ass to be around, which is exactly what I wanted. I could push people away I didn't even have to try, which was perfect. But again, going back to my earlier video, that's not where I want to be in life anymore. That's not where I've wanted to be for the last year and a half now. And keep in mind, for the year and a half that I was only feeding into my lighter energy, it's not like the dark side of me ever went away. That dark side is a part of me, right? The negativity, the looking at things for what they are, the expecting everything to fall apart, all that type of stuff, the fears, the anxiety, all that stuff. All of that is associated with my darker energy, I would venture to say, including, and it didn't just go in terms of who I was as a person, what my demeanor was, what my thought processes were. It was beyond that. It was also, what I was aesthetically attached to or attracted to, the skulls and demons and dark colors, black, purple, deep reds, all that stuff. To this day, well, okay, maybe not to this day. Let's go back 2-3 months ago when I was only feeding into the light still, and I had been doing so for months. All that dark stuff it's still a part of me. It didn't disappear. And when I was only feeding into the light, I was ignoring the majority of it. Not all of it. It's impossible to ignore everything. But in terms of aesthetics, I've always been attracted to the darker side of things for whatever reason. In terms of demeanor, even when I was feeding into the light and I was trying to be as positive as possible, I'm still a relatively quiet person overall. I was willing to step out of my comfort zone and talk to people more often and give compliments and stuff like that and be cheerful and try and spread joy. But at the end of the day, the majority of the time I was still staying silent. I just wasn't actively trying to push people away or be difficult for no reason. So the darker side of me still existed. It still exists to this day and it's never going to go away. And I don't want it to, because the dark energy has its benefits, as does the light. I definitely feel happier when I'm feeding more into the light side than the dark. But if I'm only feeding into the light and I'm ignoring all the negatives about life, about what's going on around me, about the world stage and what countries are at war and all that stuff, if I'm willfully being ignorant to what's going on around me, then I'll get stabbed in the back, which is exactly what happened. When I was only in the lighter side of myself and I was only trying to spread positivity and I was looking past what people were saying or doing, and I was looking at the potential of what they could be saying or what I know they're capable of doing. And I was trying to give everybody the benefit of a doubt, even when I shouldn't have, to be honest. And that left me open to attack. And boy, did I get attacked. I got stabbed in the back by business partners, coworkers, friends, family, lovers, to the point where I almost felt like just giving up and going back to where I was for the first 32 years, but that's not where I want to be. I already know that. I've been down that road. I've seen where it goes. I don't want to go back to that dark place in my head and only focus on the negative and block out all the positive that could come. I still want to feed into that. I still want to invest my time and my energy into situations or people that I know could be better. But I can't do it if I'm only focusing on the positive, or I'll just keep getting stabbed. So, as far as where all this goes for me, what balance means to me, my balance is not turning a blind eye to situations or the situations going on around me or what people are saying. I'm not ignoring it anymore. I'm staring straight at it. I'm acknowledging it for what it is. I'm also looking at the potential of where it could be, what it's capable of, who they're capable of, and I'm trying to gently nudge everybody in that direction. I would say gently, but I will I will have to admit, when I was in that negative mindset, I kept everybody far away from me. So, in terms of conflict, I didn't really care to get into too many conflicts. I mean, I would still have debates once in a while, but I didn't really care to argue with people. I didn't want to waste my time doing it. I would rather at that point in my life, I would rather of just everybody just leave me alone. I don't want to deal with them. I'm doing my own thing. I'm focusing on work. I don't want to get into arguments that have no purpose. And then when I was in the lighter side of myself for the last year and a half, I found myself still holding back, but for different reasons. I found myself not saying what I wanted to say or not speaking the truth because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. I had already gotten past at that point. I had already gotten past the idea of, okay, well, I don't want to get into conflicts. If you want to push people into the potential of where they could be or where they should be, and as far as you're concerned, you're going to get into conflicts. That's just the reality of it. But I also was doing it with kid gloves with everybody. I would analyze each person individually and I would try and adjust what it was that I wanted to say or I needed to say so as not to offend them as best as I could. And sometimes it still came off a little offensive, which I was aware of, but it wasn't nearly as harsh as what the truth could have been. And in finding that balance between the light and the dark energies in me, I realized that no matter how you go about it, the truth is the truth. I would rather have peace of mind being an asshole and speaking the truth if that's how they want to view me, but from a good place. See, there's a difference between speaking the truth just to hurt somebody, where there's no good intentions in it whatsoever. You're just being a dick. And speaking the truth because you see somebody heading down the wrong path and you're trying to get them to wake up. Sometimes the truth is exactly what we need, no matter how harsh it is. And it seems like the more time goes on, the less likely you are to find people who are willing to speak the truth. I don't know what's happened in the world over the last decade, but there are definitely less and less people who are willing to just speak the truth and confront you than to talk behind your back and stab you in the back. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of all the snakes. But I do still treat everybody with kindness and respect, no matter who they are. If it's a first time conversation, I will treat you with the kindness and the respect that I would treat everybody with. But I will also match your energy, right? If you want to be a dick for no reason, I will be a dick back. If you give me nothing but kindness, you will get nothing but kindness in return. That's just how it should be, honestly. Treat others how you want to be treated, or however that saying goes. I don't even remember it, but it's true. I would rather treat everybody with kindness and respect and get nothing but kindness and respect back. And so that's what I do. And the second you show me something other than the kindness and that respect that I gave you, I will match it. And I will be honest with you as to why if you seem to have a problem with it. That's the way I see it now. And so far, I bumped heads with a couple of people, but so far it's working out. I think it is better to just be honest and say what you need to say. And that's not to say that I'm always right. Sometimes what I think the truth is, I'm wrong. It happens. If they're able to show me what the truth actually is, and I'm able to see how it is that I'm wrong, 100%, I will accept. I will accept responsibility and apologize, and I will adjust my view. But I would also like to say that maybe sometimes, maybe sometimes it isn't a bad idea to keep enemies in your life too. There's a reason I would say that. Before you can start identifying the snakes in your life, you have to know what the enemy is. And you're never going to know that if you only surround yourself with people that are like minded, people that are in the same energy, people that are balanced. Sometimes you do gain something from finding the people who are imbalanced and they are assholes. And overall, they are snakes. And once you get to that point where you're able to speak the truth and you're able to see things for what they are and you're able to identify people for who they are and see the things that they're doing and ignore what it is that they could be doing, to ignore the potential that they do have, and you see things for who they are at that point in time, you can identify the enemies. And I've been keeping them in my life regardless. When I do identify somebody and I determine that they don't have good intentions towards me, whether or not they want to stab me in the back or they want to manipulate me or they want to lie to me, undecided, but I can definitely tell that there's something going on by following my intuition. But I keep them in my life not to see necessarily where it goes. I'll still try and nudge them in the right direction. Some people don't want to listen, and I can't force them to do it. But the reason that I keep the snakes in my life is because in order to identify the snakes, you have to know how they operate. You have to know how they think. You have to know what signs to look for so that you can identify snakes easier in the future. That's not to say that every single person's the same. Sometimes two people can be completely different as to who they are, but they act the same. I mean, it does happen. But it's better to be skeptical and wary once you identify certain characteristics or traits that are similar than to be blind to it. So I keep the snakes in my life so I can identify them easier in the future. And I keep it in the back of my mind when I'm talking to them that, well, I know that this person is a snake. And so I know not to take everything that they say, all too seriously. I know that they have ulterior motives, and that makes it easier to converse with them. But even with my enemies, even with the snakes, even the people that I know have ill intentions, I just don't know what they are yet, I'll still treat them with that same kindness and respect until they give me a reason not to. But once they give me that reason, then the gloves come off. Then I feel like I'm justified for doing what I need to do in order to protect myself or those that I love. Sometimes people will test you or they'll push you or they'll try and manipulate you or they'll lie to you or they'll do something that they know damn well they shouldn't. And the only way that you're going to get to where you need to be is by feeding into that darker energy of yours and showing them exactly why they shouldn't fuck with you. I've had very few people in my life who have openly attacked me or manipulated me. Whether I was in my darker energy or my lighter energy, I would always go back to that darkness when I had to deal with them. And I've had very few people in my life walk away completely unharmed and continue to do the same stupid shit they were doing to somebody else. I'm not saying that I'm advocating for violence. That's not what I'm saying at all. You don't need violence to get through to somebody. I don't like manipulating people. I don't like directly attacking people if I don't have to. But again, sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes you need to get hurt to wake up and see exactly what it is you're doing. I don't think that makes me an evil person. especially if I'm not the one who started it. And I'm not trying to be childish, but at the same time, by only feeding into the light and trying to turn a blind eye to somebody who's wronged me, because that's the good thing to do, I'll still I'll still forgive my enemies, but only after they understand never to do that again to me or anybody else. And once they understand that, then I forgive them. That's where my balance has led me. See things for what they are, speak the truth and only the truth, no matter how harsh it is. Stay kind, stay loving, stay caring. Still see the potential in people, but also acknowledge when it is that they are trying to use that against me, when they're trying to use my kindness against me. The second I see the snakes for what they are, that's when the demons come out to play. That's the only way that they learn. But sometimes you need to teach them not to mess with you ever again. That is what I've learned. That is what I've gathered. It's not out of malice. I'm not intentionally going after people. I'm not perfect. I've got plenty of stuff I need to figure out myself. I've hurt people unintentionally, and you know what? Regardless of the reason why I thought I did it at the time, I ended up owning it for what it was. Nobody held a gun to my head. I hurt that person. I hurt that friend. I stabbed that friend in the back. And I let them know that I saw it for what it was. And nobody else is responsible. My circumstances at the time were responsible. I was responsible. And I apologized up one side and down the other, and that's the best I can do. That's what the balance has brought to my life. I can only say I've only been in this for roughly a month now, and I've already heard a few people with the truth. But you know what? I'm not burdened anymore. I don't feel that heavy weight on my shoulders from all the things that I would like to say, but I don't. I say things for what they are, regardless of how much it hurts. And if somebody doesn't want to see what it is that they're saying or doing, they don't want to see the truth for what it is. If they want to paint me as the bad guy, paint away. I'll give you a new brush. I don't need people like that in my life. It's all about finding that balance. And once you find it, things do start to get easier. Things start to get better. I have no regrets, and I'm not turning back. I hope that if you decide to go down this journey yourself, you will come to the same conclusion, and I wish you nothing but the best. Until next time, friends.